Viralite by Nubian Narrator Labs. Go viral or die trying. Promises instant algorithmic enlightenment. Now with 0% empathy.
Oh, JD Vance, Hillbilly Elegy turned Hillbilly Hypocrisy, the man who went from Trump is America's Hitler to yes sir, can I lick your boots and call it patriotism, a metamorphosis so complete it deserves a National Geographic documentary. Observe the Appalachian shapeshifter in his natural habitat, the Fox News green room. But tonight, we're not talking policy, we're talking pillow talk, or the lack thereof. The marriage that MAGA can't stomach. Before JD sold his soul for a Senate seat and a pat on the head from Mar-a-Lago, he was the Rust Belt redemption story, Yale law husband, Netflix movie deal, brown wife with a master's degree and manners, an Indian queen named Usha, radiant, brilliant, the kind of woman who makes family values actually mean something. But then JD looked at his future and saw a problem. MAGA don't do melanin. MAGA don't do interfaith marriages. MAGA barely does reading, so now he's out here confessing on stage like a man, trying to convert his own wife to save his political career. I hope one day my wife will come to Christ. Oh, you mean because the polls say 78% of white evangelicals won't vote for someone married to a Hindu? Got it. Let's be honest, that wasn't a prayer. That was a PR pitch, a cry for help from a man trapped between a rock and a brown woman. The self-loathing symphony. It's tragic, really. He used to beam when she stood beside him. Now he glances sideways like she's holding a sign that says DEI hire. Every photo op feels like hostage footage. Every smile looks like it was coached by AI. Generate image of man pretending not to resent his wife's ethnicity. JD's living proof that you can have everything, money, fame, a Netflix special, and still lose your reflection trying to fit into a club that never wanted you. Enter Erika Kirk, the widow's touch. Then came Erika Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, the conservative world's new grief influencer. She hugged JD Vance at a Turning Point event like she was trying to exorcise his wife's spirit. Hair twirl, hip grab, heavenly moan. That wasn't thoughts and prayers. That was lust and lip gloss. The clip went viral, and MAGA Twitter swooned. They'd make such a beautiful Christian couple. Of course they said that. She's white, she's blonde, she quotes Corinthians like it's pillow talk. For them, that's not just optics, that's the campaign poster. JD's great identity crisis. Remember when JD said he hated Trump, back before the grift kicked in, back when Usha was still his brilliant Indian wife, not the unfortunate side quest in his Holy Rebrand adventure? Yeah. Back then she was fine, back then she was love. Now? She's an obstacle to MAGA sainthood. JD's not just fighting liberals anymore. He's fighting his own wedding photos. And that's the real comedy. The man who once mocked Trump for preying on fear is now feeding on it for breakfast. He doesn't need policy. He needs purity. And MAGA purity comes in one color, one faith, one format. Jesus, guns, and the illusion of family unity. The performance of redemption. So what does he do? He performs. He plays the devout husband praying for his wife's conversion like it's a Hallmark movie titled Saving Mrs. Vance. He stands next to Erika Kirk, hand grazing where it shouldn't, smile rehearsed, and waits for the applause that tells him he's forgiven for marrying brown. That's not Christianity. That's cosplay. That's repentance theatre for an audience that will not vote for a man with a brown wife and brown children. The politics of self-hatred. See, JD doesn't just hate his wife, he hates what she represents. Everything real, intellectual, worldly, and inconvenient. She's proof he once had taste. Proof he once believed in merit, not mobs. Proof that there was a time before Trump when JD Vance could stand on his own 2 feet without needing Fox News to tell him who he was. Now he's a man rewriting his own marriage to fit the algorithm. Every sermon about faith and family is just code for "I'm sorry my wife doesn't match the curtains of Christian nationalism." The political divorce waiting to happen. Let's be real. This isn't a marriage anymore, it's a campaign liability, a demographic time bomb ticking under his campaign bus. And the saddest part, he knows it. That's why the affection looks mechanical. Why every "God bless my wife" sounds like a hostage proof of life video. If JD thought he could trade her in for a Stepford widow without tanking his brand, he would have done it already. The only thing keeping him faithful is the paperwork. The man who sold his soul twice. So here stands JD Vance, a man who sold his soul to Trump, then sold his love to MAGA. He used to be a writer, now he's a warning, a parable about what happens when you confuse ambition for salvation. He's living in a spiritual trailer park of his own design, built from guilt, white evangelical approval, and the ashes of a marriage that used to mean something. The Kirk connection revisited. And Erika? She's out here comparing JD to her dead husband. That's not love, that's a seance. You can almost hear Charlie Kirk's ghost whisper, "Girl, please stop." But no, she's leaning in like grief is a dating app. It's giving Make America Monogamous Again, but with a side of spiritual delusion. JD's final crossroad. So here's the truth, JD. You can preach, you can pray, you can pretend, but no amount of Bible verses will baptize bigotry. You can't MAGA your way into heaven while looking at your brown wife like she's a campaign liability. Because if the movement you worship demands that she convert or disappear, maybe the devil you should fear isn't in Washington. It's sleeping next to you in your conscience. JD Vance doesn't need a miracle. He needs a mirror. And when he finally looks in it, he'll see the one thing MAGA hates most, a man who traded love for legitimacy and still ended up unloved. This has been Nubian Narrator News, observing the hypocrisy so you don't have to. Not left, not right, just real.
RepentNet by Nubian Narrator Labs. Confess, compress, monetize. A spiritual tech hybrid app that listens to your private thoughts, sells the guilt as NFTs, and donates 0.01% to charity. Because forgiveness should have a subscription plan.